Okay, so for today's Sundays with Suraj, we have Rohit back again in the house, and this time we have something called
Gupshup.
guard,
Ga-
Gupshup gardening or gardening with Gupshup?
I think we can give this choice to the people if they can choose the word for us. It would be great.
That's a good one. Okay, so Rohit had this thought that we should name this series called Gupshup with Make Me Garden.
Huh.
Gardening Gupshup with Make Me Garden.
Anything.
You know,
You get to choose. It would
yeah,
be-
so you get to choose what can the series be named. So if you have anything in mind, let us know and we'll pick it if it's pretty good. And apart from that, this series is basically about the basic gardening questions that a normal gardener would have, or the basic questions that we at Make Me Garden get asked by our clients or prospects. So we thought we could upload this on YouTube, which will make everyone's life easier, since you will have a grip on the topic before you even approach somebody for gardening. So the first question what we wrote down was, how many times should I water my plants and at what time of the day?
Okay, that's a pretty interesting question. Be it Facebook, Instagram, or be it in mails, these are the most common questions that are dropped in by the clients and also by a regular audience.
Right.
So this is a very simple question, and I think you yourselves can answer it. Like usually human beings, like consider for human beings, it is always said that you should have a heavy breakfast, a comparatively lighter lunch, and completely lighter dinner.
Dinner, right.
So similarly, when coming to plants, you should always water your plant in the morning because in a good quantity. I'll tell you what is good quantity. I'll give you a tip as well. So in the morning, when you give water to your plant, it uses the water for the entire day
Okay.
for the photosynthesis or could be for its growth, and it will properly utilize it with the help of the sun and can get the best result out of it. And in the evenings, if you consume a heavy calorie food in the evening, you'll be completely down and you will start losing it. It will
Yeah,
go
you
into
feel uneasy and stuff.
Yes, so similarly, your plant is likely to feel uneasy in the night if you give a greater water quantity. So, which is a good quantity to water, even that thing your plant will tell you. It is that if you have good drain system for your plant, I mean the pot, whatever pot.
So where the water exits.
Yes.
Right.
So you will have, if you have to know that if I have watered my plant enough, when your plant is a good plant, I mean it is 9 inches and above, when you water it in the planter, then
Okay.
automatically at a point the water starts exiting from
Right,
the drain
true.
hole. So that is when you can easily understand that yeah, the plant has got sufficient water. I can stop it now. And technically, if you are living in an urban place, you might not get sufficient time to experiment this thing to understand till the water drips from the drain hole. So what you can do is you can happily go with sprinkling the water for at least 2 glasses of water. That would be enough.
Right. 2 glasses of water in the morning.
Yes, 2 to 3 glasses depending on how big your plant is.
Mhm.
And actually, a plant parent will easily understand. If he
Alright.
is connected with the plant, he or she is connected with the plant, they'll definitely
If it's,
understand.
they just put the seeds in, how much water would they require? Same 2 to 3 glasses or
Yes,
lesser than
yes. And when the plant is small, you can't directly, I mean, it's in the seedling stage or you
Right.
have just planted yesterday, you can't directly pour the water like this. You'll have to spray it. You mean you have to shower it.
that? Right.
And you got to have a jug in one of your hands, and another hand you're going to pour it this way. This is a finger
Right.
movement. So then you get it showered.
Got it. It may look funny, but that's exactly how you have to do, because when you put the seed, it sprouts up. So when it's sprouting up, if you pour directly, you may kill it.
Yeah, yeah.
And this has happened a lot of times, not frequently, but few clients actually ask us why isn't the seed growing, and one of the reasons is the same thing. If you pour water directly, there are chances that you kill the seed or the plant
Yeah.
before it even matures.
Yeah, like it's like you're firing a bullet. Like when you exactly put your seed 1 inch deeper to the soil,
Mhm.
when you're pouring it heavily, it might go 3 to 4 inches deeper.
Right. So
So
you
it'll
know,
dry them.
it'll take longer to even reach up to the top to sprout up, and it might even die in the process. So this is pretty important for anybody to keep in mind if they are starting out with gardening or I don't know, just watering every single day.
Yeah, and even if you're considering for evenings, try to go for a lower quantity. That's what I would
Right.
suggest.
Okay, so the second question is, which are the best options for sustainable pots?
Pots, yeah, pots, planters, whatever you call. So
There was planters written, but I didn't use the word planters.
yeah,
Okay.
some people call them planters in specific. So yeah, planters are a very easy choice when you are just planning to begin. Your planters could be just a paper cups.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you want to see your seeds sprout up.
Okay.
In the initial stage, you can even go with a paper cup which you have your tea
Okay.
coffee.
Are you growing that?
Yeah, yeah.
Then how does the excess water exit? You've
Small
spoken
hole.
holes.
Yeah, small hole.
Okay.
Only one hole is put underneath it,
Okay.
and that's enough.
Okay.
So, but when you're getting serious into the business, then you many people would not like to afford something like ceramic, or it could be some sort of cement pots and all these things.
Right.
So now you know the trend has always been plastic, but the
Yeah.
customers of today are not even into plastic.
But you know,
Yeah.
even using plastic pots, it's harmful to the plant too, right?
Kind of, but
They have chemicals and shit involved which might harm.
Might harm.
Especially if you're growing vegetable plants. There are chances, you know, the plants which grow underneath the soil, there are chances that it can get affected by the
could be,
chemicals.
but yeah, all the manufacturers claim that they are doing enough of thing for it. So even it's okay. It's business by end of the day.
Right.
So what I would personally suggest is the best sustainable choice that is given outside is go with HDPE or LDPE bags,
Okay.
which are certified by the government
So
themselves.
HDPE and LDPE are nothing but grow bags
Hmm.
which are sustainable,
Yeah.
which are eco-friendly.
Yeah, they are eco-friendly because you will not easily get to dispose them because they don't tear or wither away so easily.
They last longer too. You know,
Yeah.
normal plastic pots last for I guess 1 year or so,
1.5.
1.5 years, but these last for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So you know it lasts longer and also eco-friendly and recyclable.
Yes, and recyclable. That is the most least understood thing. We can actually
Right.
recycle them, and they have easy mobility. Like they are not too heavy. Even if you have 10 kgs of weight inside them, they don't make it feel that heavy. They're easily portable,
Right.
and they can accommodate all the elements that are required. And other alternatives that can be looked into could be cloth bags,
Right.
fabric bags, which are coming at the moment. And also, if you are planning to do in a very fun way, you can also go with cloth.
Right.
Yeah, you can do it in cloth, like seeds like fenugreek, chia seeds, and other seeds. They grow in cloth also.
Did any client of ours take cloth bag?
Uh, no, they took seeds, they planted in cloth.
Shiva, yeah. Shiva was suggesting that we can
Have
introduce
fabric
cloth bags.
Cloth bags, yeah.
So that is something we'll consider. Okay, so the third question is, what is an ideal ratio for soil mix or potting mixture to grow a plant?
This is something that the most troubled thing that we'll ever get asked, because there is nothing standard, man. There's nothing standard, fixed or anything in this environment.
Uh-huh.
It's that we derive them, we make them a composition.
Right.
So what I say is, see,
Is that a secret ingredient?
nothing actually. The only thing is that it's like I would ask a simple question to everybody that, see, you wear clothes which you're comfortable in.
Right.
So similarly, when you're growing up, we can easily find out that he's liking tight clothes, he's liking loose clothes.
Mhm.
So similarly for your plant, I can 100% say that only 10 unique species would like to have tight held soil.
Okay.
Most of
Which
the
is?
like some exotic spines and all these things. Like
I mean, what kind of
cacti.
soil?
Tight soil in the sense like completely red soil,
Okay.
completely something that is
And red soil is pretty hard to
hard.
get.
Yeah,
You know, legit red soil.
yeah. You won't be easily able to penetrate. I mean, the
Right.
seed will not be able to penetrate inside the soil.
Okay.
So it doesn't give that much of aeration space. So for this aeration space, so technically we would need something that is loose and good for the soil,
Okay.
and it also nourishes the plant by the end of the day.
Okay.
So why we do this potting mixture is it's a mixture of three elements. What I have learned from the people I know is that it has coco peat, it has red soil, it has vermicompost.
Okay.
So what these three things do is we follow usually this 2:1 ratio. So 2 would be like, let's assume that you're making a 4 kg of potting mixture.
Okay.
So it would technically be that you would have 2 kgs of coco peat,
Okay.
1 kg of red soil, and 1 kg of vermicompost.
Right.
So coco peat will only help in having a loose soil, like it will make it very smooth, and it will help the plant get more aeration.
Okay.
And red
And
soil.
wait. Aeration meaning?
Aeration meaning is space for the roots,
Right. Okay.
roots of the seed.
Okay.
So when it's growing up, it needs to expand.
Okay.
So when you are having only red soil, it won't give you the space to
Okay.
penetrate. So it's like ease of doing business. If
Right. If there's coco peat.
yeah.
Got it.
So if there is a good economical policy in a government, any business will easily able to penetrate into the entire country.
Makes sense.
So
That's a good relation made there.
yeah. So if there is no space, there are tight policies across the country, you will be not able to grow so easily. So that's as simple as that. So when coming to red soil, it will give you the micronutrients, whatever are available in the soil.
Okay.
Like it could be silicon, it could be some other elements,
Right.
nitrogen and all these things. And vermicompost is completely nutrient based.
Okay.
Vermicompost has all these mixtures of organic dry matter, grey matter, and all these things get
All
into
the
it.
essential nutrients for the plant to grow.
Yeah, and what I would say is technically go with some other elements also, like you can have trichoderma, you can have Epsom salt, you can have manure, dry cow dung powder. You can add your own elements, but
Right.
don't do it in too much quantities. Try to be limited. You can have neem cake also. Neem cake.
Neem cake we provide. Neem cake, neem
Yeah,
oil.
neem oil. We have close to 17 different nutrients getting into our potting mixture. So you
So
can.
that's a secret. That I know is a secret.
That is technically a secret because we don't usually go in doing it outside. We do it in labs. We get them from labs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, that gesture was for Rajesh sitting there, who doesn't want to come again in the video. Okay, going forward for the next question.
Yeah.
So, the most general question anybody would ever ask: why should I garden when I have easier alternatives? Like, hydroponics is a very easy alternative. You don't have to do shit. All you have to do is turn on the water, it'll just get circulated and you'll get the output. Why should they pick this kind of experiential gardening?
Yeah. So why every time this question comes up to us is to answer something in terms of experiential gardening.
See, after Rohit answers, I'll also give my answer.
Yeah. So that's good. It's a two-way side communication. So yeah.
Bonanza.
Double bonanza for you. So yeah, why you should actually garden is that you try to learn the essence in it. You just don't try to switch on some turbines or something and let it go itself. And
Right.
you try to get involve yourselves into something that is related to nature, because only few things are in the entire universe that we actually take interest in,
Right.
and we try to exchange energies with. Once I have actually read in Times of India in the Speaking Tree column
Okay.
that once you start meditating under a tree, you will try to gain all the energy which it has in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, how older the tree is, all its yarn that has been taken from around the environment will be exchanged with you.
Right.
I was quite surprised.
I mean,
yeah.
dude, for real, I do meditations in the morning every day. And initially, I used to meditate in my balcony where there were plants. And genuinely, there's a difference. Now I meditate in my room, but outside in the plants and room, there's a very significant difference.
I think the writer of that article was true.
He definitely is.
Yeah, so I was quite surprised. And since then, my love for gardening has begun. And you see, floating a company is a very little thing by end of the day. But what we do every day and what we get by doing this is extremely happiness, pure happiness. So when client, some XYZ client buys a seed from me and is sending me a testimonial, the happiness he shares with us is being enjoyed by another 500 to 1000 odd people.
Very true.
So you see, and yeah, I don't try to say that other clients are not enjoying it, who are not taking experiential gardening, but from the start, because
Exactly.
we have personally never provided plants to anyone, but with a seed, starting from a seed, you can see the ecstasy and growth in the journey, where there is a complete emotional ride,
Mhm.
a roller coaster technically.
Very true.
Yeah, so that's something that caught my attention. So I say that go touch the mud, have fun, try to connect your energies with the plant. And I actually happened to tell this to Anu when I went to her home, that try to talk to the plant, and she just had a smile.
Did she have a conversation?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know you should have. I will have conversation with your plants right here.
No, even I should try to talk if she had a conversation. I should ask the plants.
Talking with the plants. Series
Yeah.
for some other time.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's a very fun journey when you try to communicate with your plant and it replies back to you. I think you will understand.
The output replies back. Its response is the output or the produce it makes.
Yeah, and when you consume it, I'm not lying. When people make it out of love, and when they consume it, their expression is priceless. When they have that food of their own, when they grow it, you should know. You should know and try to talk to people who grow and have their own food. They'll be 10x happier than all the other odd beans.
Very true. So now I'll get to my points. They're just two simple points. The first point is, so basically in something, the alternatives which are easier, you are nowhere involved in the process. So even if the produce comes out bad, you do not know where to resolve it. On the other end, if you grew the plant yourself, you would have a idea of what is being done wrong in order to correct the next produce at least. So if this produce goes to shit, the next produce you know where to correct to get a better produce. That is one important point which I'm sure everybody would consider. And the second most important point is, just compare the prices, man. Is it worth it spending so much? For few maybe, but for a lot, they just make an impulsive buying decision. Moreover, a lot of them don't even make that decision. They get off from gardening looking at the pricing itself. So you don't have to get off. You can start somewhere small with a seed packet. You need not even take an entire gardening profile. Just a small seed packet. You'll understand the entire process of experiential gardening. Again, which Rohit explained, the ecstasy and the joy you get in seeing the plant grow and then eating it. So I think that's some experience you'll only gain through experiential gardening.
Yeah, and anything it could be, I would just suggest that you shouldn't back out when you see something and when it excites you so much. I think many people not taking up gardening is seeing the overpriced expenses or some premium expenses, and I think we are here to make a difference through, at least through experiential gardening, saying that no, you need not worry. Let's start small and then grow big.
Very true. Talking about starting small, seed bank on our website, makemegarden.com, you'll find 17 different varieties of seeds.
Yeah.
You can
And
buy
we'll add some more also.
more to come soon, but you can buy single packets of seeds just to try it out. If you like it, I'm sure you like it, and I'm sure you'll come back to us knowing what's more. So if you're interested, check it out. I'll drop the link in the description. Moving on, the fourth question. Oh, sorry, the fifth question. My bad. So the fifth question: what are the best choices for winter seeds? Since this is the winter.
So coming to the choice of winter seeds, I think it would be I think this is the first time some young YouTubers are trying to gardening YouTubers to be specific are trying to show you seeds in specific. How do they look and what are those winter seeds? I think you should have a look at it.
The seeds directly?
Yeah, the seeds.
Okay, so before we show them the seeds, there are again how many seed packets there? 1, 2, 3, 4.
4, 3, 12, 14.
So you have 14 seeds there. So you will see them in a bit, but here are 14 seeds for the winter season. These are the 14 seeds which one can grow for the winter season. And let's dive right into the seeds. Here we have the first one, which is a tomato seed packet. This is a brinjal seed packet. This one is lady's finger, and this one is bitter gourd. And here we have ridge gourd. I don't know what ridge gourd is.
It's called sorakai.
Sorakai in Telugu.
Birakai, sorry.
Oh, Birakai. That's Rajesh saying Birakai. And here we have cucumber.
Yeah.
And here we have cluster beans. And here we have onion seeds. It's funny, they look so weird here.
Yeah, they look like when you are trying to buy seeds from outside, they look like broken coal
Interesting.
into small tiny bits and pieces. So you can see that if you can focus here, you can see that they are like tiny broken coal pieces.
Right.
Yeah. And
Moving on.
carrot. And carrot
We
look
have-
like jeera. Don't get confused when you go outside. These are not jeera. Don't scold.
These are carrot seeds.
Yes, don't scold your vendor.
These are spinach seeds.
Yeah.
By far, I feel these are the best looking seeds. I don't know, for some reason, this reminds me of Spider Man. This is fenugreek. And what is fenugreek?
Fenugreek is mentu.
Menthu or methi, which is the most selling seed
Ah.
through Make Me Garden ever.
Yeah.
Everyone is just buying this.
Winner, methi dinner.
Yes, winner, methi dinner or fenugreek for dinner. So here we have green sorrel seeds.
Yeah.
What exactly is, what is green sorrel?
Green sorrel is called gongura in Telugu.
My man Rajesh giving us inputs. Green sorrel is gongura in Telugu. I don't know what you call it in other languages.
Yeah. So yeah, you can focus these two things. I'll tell you that how difficult it is to figure it out.
This is amaranthus.
Yeah. And
What exactly is amaranthus?
Amaranthus is called totakura, and there's a tiny difference between purslane and amaranthus. When you focus on this, on amaranthus, you have a glossy layer, and it is a little bigger, rounder seed when compared to purslane. You can get confused when these both are two kept together.
They look very, very similar.
Yeah.
Let me just put them close.
Yeah. So you can see that where the gloss is, that is amaranthus.
Here you can clearly see there's some gloss here. So you can differentiate that between amaranthus and purslane. So what is purslane again?
Purslane in Telugu it is called as Gangavalli.
Okay, purslane in Telugu is called Gangavalli. So here are 14 seeds that you could grow for this winter season, which will give you the best produce you could ever eat. If you're interested in buying any of these seeds, I'll drop the link in the description to the seed bank, which is available on www.makemegarden.com.